Всем привет и добро пожаловать. Everyone, welcome. You all are absolutely awesome. And also, thank you so much for all the positive feedback we got from the very first video, as that was not expected. And so this is going to be a direct continuation of that, taking the basics and applying them to what we're going to talk about today. And I also, real quick, just want to say thank you to the company Arcturus, which I'm sure some of you have heard of. And they sent me out their AK 12K PE model for some content and to use at games and whatnot. I would highly recommend you check them out because it is definitely worth it. But on to the video. We're just going to be talking about one thing real quick, and then we're going to suit up and head out and go crazy. So as you can see in the title, we're going to be talking about CQB. These are just going to be some basic Russian-style doctrinal principles, okay? These are things that I was taught, and I'm essentially just giving you the blueprints of different techniques so that way you can LARP hard and take what you like, fill in those blueprints, those empty spots, and kind of find out what flows for you, right? Now, I know everyone loves acronyms, and so guess what I got for you? An acronym, right? So today we're going to be looking at the acronym Nord. Наблюдаю, observe, оцениваю, evaluate, решаю, decide, действую, act. So with наблюдаю, observe, we're going to see a building, we're going to watch it for a little while. Is this an enemy building? Is this just a local party house for kids? Is this absolutely empty? Right now, after watching, if it piques our interest still, we are going to оцениваю, evaluate. All right. Now, when we're evaluating a particular building, it's going to come down to several factors, right? Survivability in CQB, it's going to depend on what type of building is it. Are there 10 enemy combatants? Are there 20? Are they barricaded inside? All right. Are there only 3 of us with 2 mags apiece? Or do we have mortars and drones and other outside support, right? So once we have evaluated a particular target, we go to решаю, decide. Is the juice worth the squeeze, all right? Now, obviously, if we decide that it's not, we're going to scrap that and go find a different target. If we do think that it is absolutely worth the risk, then действую, we're going to act. That means we are 100% committed to this particular hit, and we're going all in. We all know that NATO likes to hide in their PBs and buildings and things like that, not necessarily come out to fight. So it's up to Rusfor to go in there, flush them out, solve the problem, and win the game. So let's take this, let's suit up, and head out to the field. So, as you and your team are moving up, if you remember from part 1, you're going to want to keep that aggressive forward-leaning stance, and you're going to want to keep that heel-to-toe movement consistent. The number 1 man is always going to be watching the 12 o'clock. As the number 2 man, I'm going to have the outside of my forearm against the back of man number 1, and essentially going to be covering the 1 to the 3, and the rest of the stack is going to be watching further out, including the rear. And then we're just going to continue to move. So, as you're moving with your team and you come to your particular point of entry, number 1 man is always going to cover that particular corner because you never want to run across or move into a room that has not been cleared, whether it be a hallway, a window, anything that someone else, the enemy, could be looking outside of. So the number 1 man, he's going to peek around and clear that. And if he's not engaging, number 2 man is going to hook and he's going to clear his particular corner while number 2 man follows right in after. So now that you've made entry into the building with your team, always remember that number one man is going to do the covering. So he's always going to be on the low side, while man number two and everyone else in the stack is going to be standing. Let's say if man number one peers around a corner and he engages and he needs to do a reload, he's just going to simply rotate around. He's going to keep facing this wall so he's not rotating on the side that exposes him. And now he takes place of number two, does his reload, and then the number two man comes up and then assumes the number one position. Also, as the number two man, always be sure to have a little bit of standoff from your friend to allow them to do that. Now, let's say if the number one man is down looking around the corner. The other reason why we want a little bit of a standoff distance, because let's say if he accidentally tries to stand up or anything like that, I can just give him a slight tap with the muzzle, or he'll end up hitting the bottom of the rifle. So that way he does not join the body count of the particular raid. So we're going to discuss how we can approach and peek corners. You never just want to go around a corner or anything like that, just like a hallway, a doorway that you have not cleared, because someone can be in a corner, someone can be underneath a bed. You never know. So it's best to essentially pie and take extreme caution. So as we are going to peek, we're going to have our rifle up, and keep in mind that standoff distance between your muzzle and the wall. So if you need to raise your rifle to shoot and you try, your muzzle is going to get stuck on the wall, and that's the end of your story. So be sure, stand back just a little bit, and as we peek, we're going to take a slight step, and as we're moving, we're lowering the rifle just enough to look over the top of the optic, and as we come to a stop, that is when we are bringing the rifle back up. So that way the rifle is out of our view, as well as still high enough to be able to take a shot if we need to. Also, before you start pieing, be careful not to stick your head out like this, because if that's the only thing that sticks out, that's what's going to get hit. So we want to stay behind the rifle, and it's going to look like this. And then once we're sure it's clear, then we can move in. All right, so you made it back. I hope everything that you saw made sense, as I know the world of CQB can be very big and convoluted, but take what you saw one bite at a time, find out what works for you, and go from there. All right. And so I am also planning on regularly uploading. So if you have any ideas, questions, or anything like that, obviously leave them in the comments section below. And again, I sincerely appreciate all of the time that you guys spend here, and I wish you the best. So again, as always, берегите себя.